Who can tell me, besides Ron, which do you think is the male and the female?
Male.
How did you know? How did you figure?
Ron.
It wasn't me.
Oh man!
As we drove in.
That's
Coneheads.
If Ron hadn't told us, I would have figured that
You could
because
kind
it
of
was,
figure it out.
Okay, let's go take a look at the male. Hold on.
Can we go that way?
I don't know.
Who said we go? What? Ooh, wow. Oh, this is cozy.
What a feeling. Here, let me scoot in.
Keep it going.
This is like a hobby
How does
house.
life revolve, right?
Oh, thank you.
Clockwise, right?
Yeah.
Wow. This is a miniature.
oh, miniature.
It's not big. The big one. The male Hogan is actually 3 times bigger than this. This one is used for, of course, demonstration. This is exactly how I was thinking I was going to make the sweat lodge. This was my idea to make the sweat lodge like this. And then I took into consideration bigger groups and all the hard work that has to be done of repacking the earth again. So I took that into perspective and I said, well, let's just make a modern one. And that's what we were in today. In Navajo, this is called the 4 points that come together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 main points that come together. Is the name of this in Navajo, the Neh language. The 4 points symbolizes the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. When the ceremony is being done, the medicine man would sit in his rightful spot, and everybody else, the patrons, would gather around the other part of the home.
So does the medicine man usually sit opposite the door?
All the time. Because he has to also know when the sun comes up. Most ceremonies are done at night. So he has to know where the sun is located as it comes up or down. Well, comes up. Only one time has the sun gone down in one direction. And I had a lot of vodka martini that night. So I think our Hogan is ready to come into now, the presentation Hogan. That's where we're going to go. This is the male Hogan. This one is the female Hogan over here. And the one that we're sleeping in tonight is where we're going to enter. Yeah, we are finally here. Masha.
Shigerma. I think.
F-U.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, which direction are you coming in? Remember. Sasha. Hold on.
So we can go all the way around.
Yeah. Come on all the way around. Make the complete circle. And she's going to tell us everything there
Sure.
is about this Hogan.
Take a selfie of him.
Hey! No more selfies, no more, please, please. Paparazzi's not. Uh-oh. I know where it's at. I put it in my pocket. Everybody, what do you say? Ya, ad, eh. Yes. There you go. You have officially greeted your hosts. This is Haganamaze. In Navajo, the ne is called the female Hogan. The reason why this is a female home is because this structure has 9 logs that go in a circular structure that support the main dome structure. The 9 logs represents the 9 months of birth for the female. The dome structure represents the womb. The opening that you see here symbolizes the birth canal. This is why this is a female Hogan. As I was telling you, the female, here she is!
Hey!
Hey!
No, it's Effie.
No,
Hey!
Hi.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yate. Are these all your people?
di ki di kon, the ka heshit.
Oh. Which one?
So everybody, this is my great aunt. Her name is Effie Yazzie. She is your host for tonight. Her mom has been here for generations after generation, and her mom is very, very prominent within the society of rug weaving. Her family has a lineage and also a history of very, very strong foundation of Navajo culture, and she has been taught the true way of a female. Remember, I was telling you. And she's teaching her grandchildren, she teaches her children the same principles and values of female. What she has learned, she has now begun the process. There in the springtime, they go out and cut the wool of the sheep. They bring them all in, and they cut the white wool, the gray wool, the brown wool, and what's the other? White, gray, brown, black. Yes. So 4 natural colors of the wool. And they cut it and wash it with the root of a plant called the yucca. The yucca stick. We all know about the stick. So. That produces a soapy fiber to where they wash the wool. The natural nutrients then are separated from dirt, and then it is used to card. So what she's going to do is she's going to demonstrate the carding process of the wool. When she is doing this, all the natural fibers, the natural vitamins, the natural oil is carded into one direction. While she is doing this, grandmother would tell grandchild the process of this, the significance of this, and why it is very important for her to understand this. There is discipline in this. There's knowledge in this. Not only is she learning the different techniques of the process of carding the wool, but she is also absorbing the knowledge of her grandmother, her mother, all the female matriarchs in the family. Because from this, the discipline of the mind begins to transpire, as you can see the many different designs in the rugs. what she's going to do now is she's going to spin the wool and turn it into yarn. So this is the natural black wool, and she is spinning it. The more she spins, the tougher the fibers become. The tougher the fibers become, she then can use it to make a loom. With the white, they have variety of plants out in the nature, and the different plants, you can come on closer if you'd like, then is used to dye the wool. You have different onion skins, you have different brushes, you have different teas, lavenders to make all these different colors. They have to know where these plants are located to get these colors. That's another discipline. Knowing Mother Earth, respecting Mother Earth, acknowledging of her existence, where she has all these different plants, because not only are they used for colors, but also for natural remedies. These different plants produce different vitamins, produce different supplements for nutrients the body can use to absorb for energy, and also to use for healing as well too. So now she has spun the yarn, and from here, this is where they get to decide what color they need to make the different designs in the rug. This design that she's making here,
Hey.
the Big Dipper.
Oh.
The Big Dipper design. The Big Dipper also has a ceremonial design and also a ceremonial sand painting. And that is very close to the enemy way religion as well, or the enemy way ceremony.
Big Dipper.
The Big Dipper has that energy to be used as the enemy way ceremony
Well,
as
bear,
well.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. So that's the design that is made there within that rug. And then you also have the Yebache designs. You have what's this design right here? Do you know?
Some people call it Two Gray Hill.
Two Gray Hill design. So
This one's like that too.
yeah, the Two Gray Hill right over here too. So all the energy within the mind begins to accumulate together. Her process, her thoughts go within the rug. Within a lot of these rugs, there is an opening at the corner. Somewhere.
This one right here.
This one? Oh, okay. Here's the opening within this corner over here. And the opening symbolizes a way for all the energy to come into the rug. And that's a meditation again. Because all the geometrics, all the geometry, all the trigonometry goes within this pattern here. There is a lot of math involved here. And she didn't go to school for it. Her mother taught her. So the same principle of education of math, science, health comes not only from school, but it also comes from Mother Nature and the female, who's very wise. And it's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And so her job is to teach her grandchildren the same principles, the same values that have been bestowed upon her from her mother. So with that in mind, anybody have any questions right now about the rugs? That's just one presentation.
So just so I understand this, so as you're weaving,
you're channeling the image that you're creating. So as you weave, it all falls into place.
It should
So
all...
you're doing the Big Dipper there.
Yes.
So you don't set out by saying, I'm going to do the Big Dipper. It just comes as you're doing...
It can come as they're doing it.
Right.
But most of the time, there's a specific purpose of making a rug. There's a specific ceremony that is adjacent or ties into that rug. And it's made for a particular purpose. Just like the Big Dipper. Or the Tree of Life, or the Two Gray Hill design. There's a certain ceremony that ties into that rug, and it's made for a purpose and made for a reason.
So they do the ceremony is done first, or is the rug making
The rug, the preparation is the
ceremony?
rug, and then comes the ceremony. Because this preparation of making the rug, the process takes a long time. You have to have all these natural elements during certain times of the year. So the preparation takes planning, because you have to understand the 4 seasons. Different plants, different herbs grow certain seasons of the year. The sheep have the big wool at certain times of the year so it can be cut. The yucca can be taken out at certain times of the year to be washed. So everything is done in a cycle. And this cycle is very relevant to us, and it just happens and happens and happens and happens. Very neutral. Something that we all know, and we don't have to prepare for it. It's natural. Let me just put it that way. Everything is always prepared and ready for a certain rug to be made. And then the ceremony comes. Answer your question? Okay, next
I
one.
have a question about, do weavers specialize in certain designs? Or do all kinds of different designs?
Weavers have different designs that have their trademark. Her mother was very much known for the God Dancer designs.
Okay.
Because right out here are the God Dancers. She could see it every morning when the sun came up. So she actually could already envision it. Nothing is planned or sketched out ahead of time. It's all in the mind. That's where the discipline comes in from.
So the weaver is basically like an intuitive. So if the individual is seeing the gods dancing, there's transmission, there's messages that are coming in.
Yes.
So is that being taken and placed into the rug as like a map? Or a way of interpreting what this transmission?
The energy from nature is channeled through the human mind. The human mind then translates it from nature into a pictorial demonstration so that it can never be forgotten. Where does this come from? Nature.
It makes it easier for the others then to interpret what's been relayed. So it's communicated.
Yes.
So is there a different ceremony that is tied to each of these different kinds of rugs?
Yes, very much so. There are certain times certain rugs are made as well too. For example, the God Dancer ceremony is done in the wintertime. The Two Gray Hill is done maybe in fall or summer. Or I don't know. I'm not a weaver, so I can't really say when it's made. I can tell you when the ceremonies take place. So that's basically the principle of the Navajo rug.
So if you were to sit on a rug, you bought a rug and you were to sit on a rug, knowing what you just shared with us, then you can actually feel the energy of the rug maker.
You wouldn't necessarily sit on the rug. It would be presented as a gift to the medicine man.
Okay.
As payment for the ceremony to be done.
But each design works on the light body as
Yes,
well. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
Because then the medicine man knows which energy to channel, to bring for the healing ceremony.
So they're always like hung on a wall like that rather than put on the floor.
It's never put on the floor,
Oh.
never used to be on the ground.
So when you get home, put it back.
Yeah. When you get home after you purchase one of these rugs, make sure it goes on the wall, not on the floor.
It is not a carpet.
It does not belong on the coffee table. Remember, all this, lot of energy and lot of work has been put into it.
Question about technique.
Yes.
So, the Western way of doing all of this, as you might guess, is to, for example, to do that one right there would be to draw, a picture and of what the design would look like when completed, and then figure out how many stitches, for example, of the black have to be woven before the white is then woven. And some Anglo weavers will, for example, they will actually put what they call a cartoon behind the strings of the warp threads of the loom. And so you're saying that you don't do any of that, is that?
No. Look at the loom.
So
Do you see pictures behind it? Nope.
That is awesome, that one.
So is it so you're probably, okay, I don't want to put my words in anybody else's. So is it that you are in a bit of an altered state when you weave, and you feel intuitively when it's time to change to the next color? Thank you.
Yes, they're in balance with the design. The mind always remains neutral. That's the reason why the channeling can come through easily from nature.
Yes.
And so the design can come out quicker because it's just flowing through. It's channeling through quicker. And the more channeling is done, the faster it can be made. Something like this, 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
Any questions? We have the master right here.
So, did you pursue weaving primarily because you said your mother was a weaver, and so she would have taught you as you're teaching your grandchild. Was it something that you enjoyed even from childhood?
Well, like for my mom and her mom, they were survival by they go to the grocery store to a trading post, and that was like their income. And they're always like weaving a rug, and then they take it to the grocery store, and then they trade it with the food or material supplies. So it was like, and when you're a child, you're thinking like, okay, then I have, that's how we were living, so we decided like, okay. And then my mom used to teach me when I was very small, we would be out herding sheep. She would be carrying the wolves in the back of the horses, and I'll be learning how to handle wool when I was like only 4 or 5. And at that time she'll be spinning her wool, and then when we get home from herding sheep, and she sets up a loom, and then she'll be starting off a rug. And so I just looked at, oh, that's how you do it. And so it's just like, and then she set one up for me when I was like maybe 6, and then she said, and I really, really want to make my own design, with the way she does. It didn't work. And then she said, you have to learn how to just make a straight line. Just make it straight. Instead of putting your design, that one will not work. So I started doing that. And I ended up later on, after about a year or 2 years later, and I thought, oh, this is how it's done. So that's how I learned how to make my design.
Right. So it was a natural thing for you to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's part of that discipline I was telling you about at the beginning, where the female has a responsibility to maintain the head as a head of the household.
Right.
She was taught that she was going to be the head of the household. And her mother, to supply income for the family, used the rugs, made the rugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so in her natural instinct, it was her that became the responsible party to supply for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there on, she gave that responsibility to her daughter, to her granddaughter. This is a discipline trait that's passed from generation to generation. She's going to teach her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's no daughters, there's men.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Teach the men.
Mm-hmm.
There are men weavers.
Mm-hmm.
There's women weavers.
Yes.
But there's always that balance. Answer your question?
Yes. Thank
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else?
So do you both have? Is there more of these rugs that are your style and some that are yours?
Mostly hers.
Again, remember she said that she tried to do her own style and it did not work.
Yeah.
The geometrics of these patterns come from a long lineage of history of teaching female to female to female. Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Learning that there's only one way, not many ways. Not your way,
Yeah.
but the way
Spirit.
of nature.
Mm.
This way of nature then is disciplined into each individual as a female, as a male, mainly female, because they have the mind to come up with these geometric designs and patterns to make it work. From there, instructions given to her by the grandmother or the mother. This is your purpose. This is the reason why this line exists here. This is the reason for this color. This is the reason for this pattern. You are learning through the process, just as you're learning through a process of life. There's not only one way. There are many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just very few of many. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
Clarify.
So those many colors that come through are all taken from those plants.
You know, a lot of some of them nowadays, it's like, we've been taking the sheep wool to the market. Now the price went way down. But before, you know, they haul in a whole gunny bag that's like maybe 100 pounds or 50 pounds or something like that. Put all our white wools in there. Then they ship it off to some company. And then over there they have machinery, does all the carding, all the spinning,
Yeah.
and they sell you back the colorful wool.
Mm-hmm.
And they use, and some of them says they use different kind of plants like that, but sometimes you're like, I don't think so. But, you know, of course, for like my mom, she put in like most of her vegetable dyes, and I have a couple of them in my basket over there. But then look at this one. See how bright red and maybe blue beads and stuff like that?
Yes.
Those are commercial dyes that are real bright, blue. But other than that, if you want all your natural, because this one's all natural, and I can make one like that with the natural colors, I mean from the herbs and stuff like that. For here, I usually try to put as much as a herb that I use on my wool.
Or the natural color of the wool. In this instant here,
Yeah.
if you look at this rug, do you see any dyes that might have been used? No.
Like
Because-
even for
right, the sheep
for-
wool, those colors.
Oh,
yes.
yes.